Hello. It's been 2 months, I think, roundabout, since I've done an episode on here. This month has been a bit of a roller coaster for me, health-wise. I won't go into details of what I'm going through at the moment, but what I went through a few days before then was kind of my own fault, because basically I hadn't eaten properly on that day, plus I'd taken a majority of pills, but probably a bit too close together. Like, it was just a weird moment, and it resulted in me literally throwing up, which, you know, come to think of it, in hindsight, it didn't really surprise me. So that's been my month so far. Can't believe it's how many days? Several days basically until Christmas. I say it with the least enthusiasm because I'm not into Christmas very much. I used to be, but I don't know, it's just one of those things. I think as you get older, you well, not all people, but some people, such as myself, are just not really into it very much. So there we go. And due to this illness that I'm dealing with, even though I treated it last night, it really could have come at a worse time, I'll be honest. But I had 7 presents to wrap, even though I'm terrible at wrapping presents. And cards to write out, and I have terrible handwriting, so yeah, not good. But hopefully in a few days, hopefully by Monday at the very latest, or maybe Tuesday, I'll be a lot better, health-wise. I really want to say kind of what illness I've got, but some people just are like, you know, or don't need to know that information because of the nature of the illness. Maybe some women out there who are listening, even though there's probably not any listening that listen to my podcast, if I can even call it that at this rate, because I upload quite sporadically, you know, just very kind of like here, there and everywhere. There's no set schedule. I don't really plan what I'm going to talk about. I just press record and hope for the best that I can think of stuff to talk about. Yeah. Basically, the illness I treated last night with a one-off treatment, 500 milligrams. And to give you a clue as to what it was by a brand called Caniston. And I'll leave it at that. So, yeah. Even though I think it was my own fault as to how I got the thing that I got. So, yeah. Doesn't help that our boiler has gone out as well. It's not been working these past, I can't remember how long it's been since. I mean, it did start working at some points, but then it just kept cutting out. Now it seems to not be working at all, which is the worst thing ever, personally. But, I mean, a guy was meant to come and fix it on Monday, but then it started to snow, I think, on that day, or the day before, and obviously he didn't turn up, and he hasn't turned up since. So I don't know what's going to happen in terms of the whole boiler situation that we currently have. I really don't. I'm not emotional or anything, in case you wonder why I'm sniffing so much. It's because it's fucking cold, basically. Even though I'm wearing multiple layers at the moment, I'm wearing a thing called a comfy, which is basically like a long, big hoodie type thing. I'm also wearing a thermal top underneath, and also a regular hoodie that I got from Hollister. I think it's a UK website, and it's a really cool web hoodie as well. It's like kind of got an ombre effect to it, so it's kind of like two-toned. So it kind of like goes. It's basically black and blue, pretty much. And on another random subject, I've only recently, I've heard it mentioned often enough, but people are going to be like, oh my god, how can you not have watched it before? I'm like, I don't know, I just was very hesitant to watch it for some strange reason, because I wasn't sure how I would think of it, but I actually do like it. The show Dexter. I bought the whole show on YouTube, well, the first 8 seasons, because obviously technically the new season that came out, the New Blood thing, even though people have said it's not worth watching, but I bought it anyway. You know, I don't want to have to go by other people's reviews or perspectives, because I'm terrible for that. I should just draw my own conclusion. Because basically, I love the show You, and people have been comparing it to Dexter for as long as that show's been out, and I think that show is brilliant, the show You. I will miss Love Quinn. I will admit she was an interesting character. It would have been interesting if she'd have lived, even though she's the one that caused most of the issues in season 3. But yeah, she's just... I think I got a bit of a slight kind of girl crush on her. She is... I mean, the actress, she's quite pretty and she's lovely in real life, you know. I don't think she would hurt a fly in real life. She has kind of a hippie vibe about her, and she's admitted that she smokes weed, but it's probably medicinally speaking. And yeah, and she seems like she's definitely a very good actress. Very, very good. And her and Penn Badgley, they just were a match made in heaven in terms of how they performed together, their parts. But it's going to be interesting in season 4 how Joe's gonna, what he's gonna do. All I know so far is he's yet got another identity. I don't know if it's stolen or if it's one he's created himself completely. But it's a guy. It's a name of I think Jonathan Moore, and he's either got a job as a teacher or pretending to be one. I don't know. But yeah, it's going to be split into 2, season 4. So I think the first part will be in February, and the second part will be in March. But yeah, with the whole Dexter thing, I can definitely see why people are comparing the show You to Dexter, because it does seem very similar, definitely, in terms of both characters. I mean, it would be great if Joe and Dexter, if someone did like a video thing of them just having a conversation. I would love to see that. It'd be so interesting to see how that would pan out, in my opinion. And the guy that plays Dexter, I think his name's Michael C. Hall. That, and I've noticed a few other people, because I'm on season 1 at the moment, I've noticed 2 other actors, I don't know their names, but I had seen them in 2 different shows that I also love. One of which is The Vampire Diaries, and the guy who plays Stephen and Damon's father in 1864, in that period of time period. I think it's that very same guy who plays Dexter's dad in season 1. And then there's another guy who played a character called Hap in the show Grimm. And I think he was a pig creature, basically. Well, a pig. A Bauerschwein, basically. I'm pretty sure that's what they were called. And that's another show I think ending on a bit of a cliffhanger, because I really would love to have seen more of that. The show Grimm, such a good show. Really, I mean, if you like sort of slight supernatural stuff and hunter stuff, because that's basically what Nick is. He's a supernatural hunter. He just hunts down the bad ones. So yeah, I'm just gonna work my way through Dexter and see how that ends. I'm sure when I was looking through the show before, it showed a coffin. I mean, I was thinking, well, they can't be dead because they've just made a new mini TV series of him, so is it someone else? I don't know. I'm very, very new. But I'm one of those people that no matter how many times I watch a show like The Vampire Diaries or Daredevil, the Netflix version, because I wasn't keen on the film version, I didn't bother watching it. But the Netflix version, I love. Charlie Cox, it sounds weird, I know it sounds corny, but in my opinion, he was born to play Daredevil. He does it so well. Even though, in a strange way, it's kind of weird seeing him in real life because he's not only British, but he's also sighted. So it's kind of weird to see him in that light because you're so used to seeing him, you know, acting blind, basically. But yeah, there's just all these shows that I love. Like, as I said, Bates Motel's another one. I love that show and I've watched that millions of times because it's so good. Very underrated in my opinion. You know, I mean, if Freddie Highmore didn't get any awards for portraying Norman Bates, then it's a travesty because I think he performed it really, really well. And you know, all the rest of the cast, you know, Vera Farmiga, she's stunning and in looks and such. A great actress as well. I think I only ever saw her in one other thing, and that was in the film Orphan. I think I saw her, I can't remember if I saw her first in that film and then Bates Motel or the other way around. I think it was the other way around, but yeah, and she was great in that too. And the ending is very sad, and it's kind of bittersweet because Norman eventually gets what he wants, you know, in the end, to be with his mother. But it's kind of sad, you know, that he's just in denial and he just doesn't want his fantasy bubble of, you know, trying to be happy and everything to be burst, even though it does in the end. And if you watch the show, then you'll see what I mean. Because basically the first 4 seasons are basically a prequel to show how Norman Bates became the way he was. And he's obviously he's a teenager. But season 5 is basically a whole reboot of Psycho, but there is a twist. And if you watch it, you'll see what I mean if you've seen the original Psycho film. I have not. I've only ever seen the famous shower scene. That's it. But one day I might watch the original film. That would probably be a very weird experience for me. But yeah. Yeah, as I was saying, you know, going off on a random tangent, there's just, no matter how many times I watch a series, I never get bored of it, ever. And I've watched The Vampire Diaries, God knows how many times. I really don't know. But it always just feels fresh in my mind whenever I watch it. I don't ever get bored and think, oh, you know, not this again. I think, yay, I love this show. It's really hard to explain, but yeah. There must be some people out there that are like that. It can't be just me. But anyway, enough of me rambling. I'm going to go because I'm starting to run out of things to talk about. So to let you know that I'm still alive and marginally well. Hopefully I'll get well soon. So I really don't want to be unwell when it comes to Christmas, even though I'm not a fan of Christmas very much anymore. I don't want to be unwell on that day. So, yeah. I probably won't do another episode until next year, so for those of you listening, Merry Christmas and have a Happy New Year. Bye.